It's just after 12:14 p.m. Eastern Time on December 5th, and you're looking at a live view of Cape Canaveral Space Launch Complex 40, where a Falcon 9 is about to launch a Dragon spacecraft. Liftoff is targeted for 12:29 p.m. Eastern Time, or 5:29 p.m. Coordinated Universal Time. I'm Alex Siegel, a Dragon material planner here at SpaceX. It is great to be here with you to cover the 19th Commercial Resupply Mission to the International Space Station for NASA. Today's launch window is instantaneous, as is the case with all cargo resupply missions to station. We are at T-minus 13 minutes and 53 seconds and counting, with all systems currently go before our Cape Canaveral and at SpaceX Mission Control in Hawthorne, California. So let's take a closer look at today's Falcon 9 and Dragon spacecraft. Today we will be delivering more than 5,700 pounds of cargo to the ISS, including critical materials to support numerous science and research investigations that will occur on board the orbiting laboratory. We'll have more detail on that research later in today's webcast. This will be SpaceX's 12th launch this year, and we'll be launching a flight-proven Dragon spacecraft today for its third mission. It previously flew on CRS-4 in September 2014 and CRS-11 in June 2017. Both Falcon 9 and Dragon were designed with reflight in mind, so the vehicle hardware is built to support multiple missions with minimal refurbishment in between. Today we will be flying a brand new booster and recovering it on our autonomous drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, for use on future missions. And above the first stage is the second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine, which ignites after the first stage separates. The second stage is what will carry Dragon to its intended orbit, allowing the spacecraft to eventually rendezvous with the space station.
Hey there, I'm John Federspiel, Dragon Engineering Manager here at SpaceX, and I am thrilled to be here joining you for today's launch. If you just joined us yesterday, we stood down because of expected high winds during both ascent and at the recovery ship. Today, however, the weather is much improved with about 10-mile-per-hour ground winds, and we're looking great for an on-time launch. We're sitting about T-minus 12 minutes right now, and the SpaceX team is working no significant issues at the moment. Taking a step back, we conducted the go, no-go poll at T-minus 38 minutes, and propellant loading began shortly thereafter. Right now, our fuel, rocket-grade kerosene called RP1, is fully loaded on second stage, and we're topping off the first stage. Liquid oxygen loading is underway on both stages. We're about 75% full on first stage. We're going to continue loading liquid oxygen up right until the final 2 minutes of the countdown. We're also loading helium gas into both stages. Falcon 9 uses helium as a pressurant to backfill the stages as the tanks are emptied during ascent. Today we're flying Dragon, that's what you see in the screen right here. Dragon also reporting all systems go for today's flight. It's currently undergoing final vehicle health checks, with its next big event coming up at T-minus 8 minutes when the spacecraft will transition to internal battery power. Our last two wet indicators for the day, range ready to support. As I mentioned before, weather, green for today's mission. And so with launch, Falcon 9, Dragon, and range all go for the flight at T-minus 10 minutes and 55 seconds. All systems are go at Cape Canaveral.
Our Dragon spacecraft has been making trips to the space station for 9 years now, and today it's still the only vehicle flying that can deliver significant cargo both to and from the orbiting lab. In 2010, SpaceX became the first private company to send a spacecraft to orbit and return it to Earth. Just 2 years later, in 2012, Dragon became the first privately developed spacecraft to visit the space station. Since then, SpaceX has made a total of 20 trips to station, and we're under contract with NASA for a total of 26 cargo resupply missions. This morning, Dragon will be carrying dozens of research payloads to the space station, including within the trunk the Hyperspectral Imager Suite, or HISUI, and a replacement battery for the space station's use. Once on station, HISUI will be removed from the trunk and deployed on the Japan experiment module for 3 years, where it will regularly image the Earth to observe environmental changes for scientific purposes. Let's take a look at some of the groundbreaking research that will be aboard the CRS-19 mission.
SpaceX's 19th Commercial Resupply Services mission to the International Space Station is loaded with a variety of investigations sponsored by the U.S. National Lab. This mission includes investigations from life, physical, and material sciences, all with the intention of benefiting life on Earth. Let's get an idea about some of the investigations that are launching on SpaceX CRS-19. Over the past 3 years, Budweiser has sent a series of investigations to the ISS National Lab to evaluate the germination and gene expression of barley in space. This will mark Budweiser's 4th payload launching the station and builds on the company's previous experiments. This latest investigation will examine the barley malting process in microgravity, and results could have implications in food production both on Earth and in space. Rodent research investigations in microgravity have provided a critical tool for evaluating accelerated muscle wasting and bone loss. Insight from these space-based inquiries has led to breakthroughs in drug development for patients on Earth, as well as new ways to enhance astronaut health in space. Now, the Jackson Laboratory will be sending 40 mighty mice to the space station. These genetically enhanced mice lack myostatin, a growth factor that normally acts to limit muscle growth, resulting in mice that display increased muscle mass. The research team will evaluate the mighty mice in microgravity to examine the potential benefits of targeting the myostatin and activin signaling pathways to prevent skeletal muscle and bone loss. The National Science Foundation is funding an experiment from Case Western Reserve University that seeks to study flame spread in confined spaces. By doing studies in microgravity, where buoyancy is eliminated, researchers can better understand the physics of flame spread. Such knowledge could lead to better infrastructure design and improved fire safety codes to help prevent injury, save lives, and reduce property loss from fire. In 2019, more payloads launched the ISS National Lab than ever before, and crew members dedicated more time towards ISS National Lab research than any year previous, showcasing the increased demand to leverage this unique facility for valuable R&D not possible on Earth. To learn more about all ISS National Lab sponsored investigations on this mission, visit issnationallab.org.
This is just a small sample of the dozens of research experiments that Dragon will take up to the space station. You can follow @space_station on Twitter for more information on the exciting microgravity research happening on the station.
Today kicks off one of the busiest times in the history of the Dragon program, with exciting events happening for both Dragon 1 and 2. The action really started last month, where we successfully static fired all 8 Super Draco engines on our in-flight abort test vehicle, meeting all test requirements. At full throttle, these engines together can generate over 120,000 pounds of thrust to safely propel Dragon away from Falcon 9, and the event abort is required. Successful completion of that test was a key milestone for both the SpaceX and NASA teams, as it demonstrated the upgrades to the Super Draco system in response to the test anomaly we experienced earlier this year. The team is now performing minor refurbishment to that capsule to prepare for the actual in-flight abort test targeted for February of 2020. Following a successful test, we'll move forward with launching humans, slated also for the first quarter of next year. Now, bringing it back to today's launch, we're sitting about T-minus 6 minutes and counting for an on-time launch to the International Space Station at 12:29 p.m. Eastern Time. In these final few moments, Falcon 9 is performing the last health checks on its primary communications, avionics, and propulsion systems in preparation for flight. The good news is, as we're looking through these checks, all systems remain go for today's flight. About a minute and a half ago, we began chilling in the engines of both the first and second stage vehicles. That's where we flow a small amount of liquid oxygen to the 9 Merlin 1D engines in the first stage to begin cooling them down to prepare them for full flow at ignition. This is why you start to see a white cloud form at the base, and now you see one closer in the inner stage as that liquid oxygen is boiling off into gaseous oxygen. As of right now, we're sitting completely full of fuel on the first and second stage and continuing to top off liquid oxygen on both stages. This is going to lead us up to these final few fueling moments, up to T-minus 1 minute, where Falcon 9 is going to take over the countdown process and enter into the startup mode, which will guide the rocket through the rest of the countdown. Listen in at T-minus 45 seconds, where you're going to hear the SpaceX launch director give us the final go for launch. And finally, a few seconds before ignition, before liftoff, the engines will ignite, leading to T-0, where we will have the rocket be released from the hold-down clamps, and you will see the strong back retract away from the rocket, clearing the way for F9's ascent. We're taking Dragon today. It's also performing its final health checkouts. Its earlier transition to internal power went smoothly, and so it is all ready to go for today's flight to the space station. Range remains go for today's launch. No tracking, no issues. Weather also looking beautiful at Cape Canaveral. And so with about T-4 minutes right now, we're actually going to go silent on our side at the webcast here and let you enjoy these final few moments before liftoff of Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral.
Stage 1 launch load closed out. Stage 2 loss is closed out. Gas closeouts are starting. Falcon 9 is in startup.
Dragon is in startup. Go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition, liftoff.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
T plus 40 seconds into today's flight, all systems looking nominal for today's mission. Dragon on its way to the International Space Station for its 19th Commercial Resupply Services mission. Coming up in about 20 seconds, we have max Q, our maximum aerodynamic pressure,
Vehicle
one of the highest
supersonic.
stress states on the vehicle. Just heard the call out that we passed through supersonic.
Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
With that, we just heard the call. We passed through max Q.
Recovery AOS.
All 9 engines look good. Trajectory
Check
looks
engine
good.
kill.
Coming up, we are going to have 4 events in rapid succession. It's going to be main engine cutoff, or MECO, followed by stage separation, then second engine start 1. That's the engine on our second stage, followed by the start of the boost back burn of our first stage. You're looking at a view of our first stage, looking aft. That is a view inside the 2 stages as we wait for stage separation.
MECO.
And we just had a good main engine cutoff, a good stage separation. On the right side of your screen, you're seeing ignition of the second stage engine. It has about a 6-minute burn ahead. And then on the left side of your screen, that is a forward-looking view from our first stage, where the boost back burn has also started successfully. It's going to shut down here in just a few seconds.
Stage 1, boost back burn is shut down.
And then you just see on the tail of the screen there from the second stage camera, that was the nose cone from Dragon being deployed. The nose cone of Dragon being deployed means we've left a majority of Earth's atmosphere as we power, second stage powers Dragon to the International Space Station right now.
Stage 2 on nominal trajectory.
Acquisition of signal Bermuda.
In order to make its way back to our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, the first stage executes a series of 3 burns. The first is a boost back burn, which is meant to slow the rocket down and orient it for re-entry. It also helps Falcon 9 laterally return to the drone ship. Shortly after this first burn is initiated, the grid fins, which you saw earlier on the left side of your screen, they're located near the top of the first stage, are deployed to help guide the rocket during descent. Following the boost back burn, Falcon 9 executes its re-entry burn to slow itself down before hitting the dense part of the Earth's atmosphere. Lastly is the landing burn, which happens just before touchdown to take the booster softly down to the drone
Stage 2
ship.
continues on nominal trajectory.
We are at T plus 5 minutes, and the second stage is on its way to drop off Dragon into its targeted orbit. As a reminder, the first stage had an on-time launch today at 12:29 p.m. Eastern Time, just a few minutes ago, and a nominal ascent. As I mentioned earlier, you see those grid fins deployed on the left side of your screen. As you see the first stage start angling back towards the Earth's atmosphere as it's going to get ready for that entry burn, which is our next main event to look out for. In In roughly 30 seconds or so from now, we expect to see that entry burn begin, so let's keep our eyes peeled.
Stage 2 continues on nominal trajectory.
So you just heard out a call out. Stage 2 is still on nominal ascent, taking Dragon to station.
Stage 1, entry burn has started.
So you see on the left side of your screen, entry burn has begun. This should last just under 10 seconds, and we expect to see it shut down shortly.
Stage 1, entry burn shut down.
And there you hear the call out, entry burn is shut down. Next major event we're looking for in just under a minute or so is the landing burn to begin.
Stage 2 continues on nominal trajectory.
Just about 30
Stage
seconds
1
or
is
so
transonic.
away for that landing burn to kick in. Let's keep watch.
Droneship has AOS.
Looks like we lost our feed on the left side of the screen of the first stage coming down.
Stage 1, landing burn has started.
So you just heard on the call out, we did get confirmation that landing burn has begun. Hopefully we can pick that feed back up to see a landing.
Acquisition of signal, New Hampshire.
Stage 1, landing legs have deployed.
Unfortunately, it looks like we have lost our feed for the booster landing. Oh, and there it is. You hear the crowd behind me. Another successful landing. Congrats to the entire SpaceX team for another successful land. This marks our 20th successful first stage recovery. This secondary mission is an important part of our commitment to vehicle reusability.
About another 5 or 10 seconds here, we're going to have the engine shut down. Merlin vacuum engine right now throttling down in preparation for shutdown. We're standing by for shutdown of second stage engine, and then we'll have Dragon deployment about a minute after that.
Good back shutdown.
And we have shutdown and confirmation of a good orbit. Second stage has one last major task, and that's commanding
Nominal orbit
separation of
insertion.
Dragon less than a minute from now. We should have some video of the separation from Dragon from the top of second stage.
Dragon separation.
It'll give us a really nice view of Dragon's unpressurized cargo trunk, and we'll be able to follow the
Acquisition of signal, Newfoundland.
spacecraft separation for about a minute after separation. There's that camera view on your screen right now. We're standing by right now for Dragon deployment, and here the confirmation of that. So at this stage in the mission, so far we're just coasting. Vehicle itself is doing some checkouts in preparation to gently separate Dragon from second stage. After that point in time, there you go. There's your live view of separation from Dragon. Carrying the Hisui, the spectral imager suite that's going to attach to the Japanese module, and then the station battery right next to it. Kind of on the top and bottom there, the flat sections, those are the solar array fairings which protected our solar arrays for ascent. We're now standing by for about 2 minutes from now where those solar array fairings will release and allow the solar arrays themselves to unfold. Just under 2 minutes till we're going to have deployment of Dragon solar arrays. Dragon does need these solar arrays in order to finish its 3-day mission. We have some onboard batteries. We use the solar arrays to keep those batteries charged from the times when we're not in the sun. It allows us to keep the vehicle powered as we make our mission to the space station, our 3-day journey. And because the views go in and out, we are showing you a live map of the position of the vehicle. We don't always have the high data rate in order to transmit video from the second stage or from Dragon. And so instead we have animations to show you what you're looking at. Now, second stage itself is doing some slight pitching, and that's why you're seeing it look like Dragon is oriented different in that view from the forward end. And on the left side of your screen, that's an inside view of the Dragon solar array fairings. That's the back side of one of the solar arrays. And on the right side, again, there's your ground track trajectory, where the vehicle is. After solar array separation, solar array deployment, about 2 hours after, we have our GNC bay door open. That's where our navigation sensors will be exposed to space, and they allow us to really understand our position relative to space, to Earth, and relative to the space station, and how we get from point A to point B. And there you have it on the left side of the screen. There's the solar array deployment as they gradually unfold. That's the back side of our solar arrays. It looks beautiful to see, always a beautiful sight.
Dragon is deploying its solar arrays. Dragon's propulsion system is successfully primed and all thrusters are ready for firing.
Dragon is now on its way to the space station. Over the next 2 days, Dragon will perform a series of orbital height adjust maneuvers with its Draco engines until it's within a few kilometers of the ISS. Then Dragon will establish a communications link with the ISS and will perform a series of checks on the vehicle. When both NASA and SpaceX are ready, we'll initiate a slow approach to the ISS, pausing at several checkpoints along the way to ensure crew safety. When Dragon is within 10 meters of the station, the astronauts aboard will capture the Dragon using the station's Robotic Canada arm in a process known as berthing. Finally, Mission Control in Houston will send commands from the ground for the station's robotic arm to rotate and stall Dragon to the space station. Dragon will remain on station for about 30 days before returning to Earth with research and return cargo. So to recap today, we had an excellent on-time launch, a successful stage separation, a booster landing, and a great Dragon and solar array deploy. Dragon's arrival, capture, and installation to the space station will be streamed live starting on December 8th around 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time on NASA TV. Dragon will spend about 4 weeks attached to the space station before returning to Earth with cargo and research.
That's going to end our live launch coverage for today, but we'll be posting mission updates on NASA and SpaceX's social media accounts. We want to give a big thanks to the range and the FAA for their support today. And finally, we want to most importantly thank you, the viewers, for joining us. Until next time, have an awesome rest of your day.